Hey everyone, Noble Comics here, and here's my review of Jawbreakers God King by Richard C. Meyer, which is still available in demand on Indiegogo if you want to get yourself a copy. But let's jump into it. I want to start talking about the art, because I think that'll be the shorter segment. So the art's good, no complaints. I think everything works very well. I think it all looks very well. The colors are great. No complaints overall. Really spectacular, actually, looking over it again. So art's good. It's great. I really like it. Really like the design of all the characters. I like the G.I. Joe approach to everything with some modern superhero aspects kind of thrown in with some of the villains. And then the monsters at the end all look very cool as well. All look very Lovecraftian, which is pretty nice. Talking about the story, though, is where I run into a little bit of problems. Now, I should say I did not read Jawbreakers Lost Souls, so I am going into it blind, without the knowledge of the first issue. So that is on me. So these criticisms maybe is because I haven't read the first one. Please let me know if that is the case, if this stuff's explained better somewhere else. Because it starts out with a fight against a group of people who they say they've killed before. I have no idea who these people are. We don't really know. I assume they're from the previous book. And then they beat him, and then they continue on their journey. Kind of just a opening action scene. And then we get Knife Hands' story, who in the recap lets you know that his ninja clan that is chasing after him, they're all dead. So now he can use his power without worry. And he can go get revenge, go kill his father. And so he chops his father's building in half using his powers. But when he gets up to actually fight his father, he doesn't use his powers. So I don't know what the point of waiting this long to attack him was. Because it seems like he could have just gone up to the tower and attacked his father anyways, if he's not going to use his powers anyways to fight his dad. And then doesn't really pan out anyways. So I just kind of wonder what I see later on, the point of it was he went to go get the God gun, and he used the God gun, sacrificed himself. But at the same time, and it's sort of going to be a consistent complaint, it seems like the conflict arising and the conflict being resolved happens very quickly, multiple times throughout here. Like the overall conflict of the God King, sure, it's like a standard story, but all these little in between conflicts are resolved in just a few pages. Goes to fight his dad, doesn't win, goes to get the God gun, and then of course Hell Priest says, oh, you were never one of us, and then he sacrifices himself. Then like a page later he says, I guess you were one of us. Like, there needs to be a little bit more time to actually build that character, and that maybe he's not one of us, and then is this a really, really quick return on that? It makes me wonder sort of what was the point of even saying that. But again, it may have been built up a lot more in the previous book, and I'm just missing it. So then the main story, as it continues, they get the metal robots, and they're fighting in the giant robots, and that's pretty cool. I did not expect that. That's pretty interesting. And then we have, was it Silkworm and Cuffs going to fight the God King? And again, I'm kind of wondering who these people are. What are their powers? We never see them really use their powers. We see Silkworm make the cocoon around Cuffs, who's been turned into iron pyrite cubes. But we don't really get a sense of what that does. Maybe it's all been explained before. But if you're just jumping into this story, it's all a little confusing. And then we have the part little things, because the story itself, I'll say, I know I'm giving a lot of complaints. The story's good. The story itself is good of the God King and this team. I think it works. I think the G.I. Joe style works. I think it's a good story. There's just certain aspects of it that I think can be improved, such as the sort of the little beat by beat internal conflicts could be tweaked. I think they could be written a little better. And then this particular line of dialogue really got to me, really bothered me. And so here it is. I'm going to read it straight from the book. This is after Silkworm shoots God King after figuring out that he was basically just pretending to be a god. But then God King comes back and he says, "You were right. I was pretending to be a god, but now I am a god, thanks to you. It's not easy, you know, becoming a god. You need help, someone to kill you," and it goes on and on. Now, what bothers me in the writing process is having the word God 3 times back to back to back, pretending to be a god, but now I am a god. It's not easy becoming a god. Like, I get it. I get it. The reader gets it. Now you've become a god. I feel like that could be rewritten to come out a little bit smoother and like less redundant. Like, I was pretending to be a god, but now I am, thanks to you. It's not easy, you know, becoming fully divine. You need help. Like, you could spice it up a little bit with the actual writing and the actual language in it. I think to just make the story read easier, because otherwise it just feels like you're kind of beating me over the head. Like I understand how the story's going. He is a god now. I get it. And then yeah, throughout the next page, not as bad, but you can kind of see a little bit of the same thing. Then we get the origin of our villain, which is fine. You see the fake daughter get killed, but he has to make him think it's the real daughter. That's all fine. And then we go into the Cthulhu world, I'll say. And that part confuses me a little bit too, because Silkworm, it's like he's taking the spotlight away from the God King. He's talking about, you know, he has true rage, he has true chaos, and he has true fury, so they should pick him. And God King's kind of like, you know, what are you doing? Stop it. This is my shebang. This is my deal. But I don't know why God King is worried, because he's been culling these guys' favor for a really long time. As we've seen his origin, he's pretty full of hate. I mean, more so than I assumed Silkworm would be, because again, if you're just jumping into it, you don't know too much about these characters. And then I don't know if this was the part Zach was talking about of writing himself into a corner, of like they're in a different dimension, but they still need to be shot with the God gun. And Hellpriest is blind. Like literally, he's taken out both of his eyes. I don't think that's too much of a stretch, because again, it's a little suspension of disbelief there. You know, why not? Like, you know, why not? He can shoot through dimensions with the God gun. Sure, you know, it makes perfect sense. It's a comic book, you know. And then that's the resolution of the God King's story, which I don't want to say it's anticlimactic. But I want to say I wish we saw a little bit more of this monster world, and saw a little bit more of like how they would handle that, or you know, some cool action. But again, I know they're street level heroes, so fighting giant monsters isn't exactly what they're supposed to do. I know Lost Souls, that was sort of their thing, but I get that that's not their typical villain. And then we jump off from the main story, this conclusion of the main story, and then we have the Zaxxy respawn story, and nothing good or bad to say. It was fine. I enjoyed it. Art's good. It's very detailed. I really like the detail. Zaxby's story was fine. No complaints. No real criticisms either. I thought solid. And then you have the Devil Dog origin story. And this one I really liked, actually. I like the real military approach to it, the real military feel. The art's great. The story is actually very interesting. It kept me glued to the pages for the whole thing. I really like this character. That's Devil Dog. He's kind of brash and bold, and he'll take everybody on. He's willing to try crazy maneuvers like taping all that metal to himself to go fight these terrorists. I wish I, saw him in this story, but I understand he died in the previous book, which makes me look forward to the prequel. Hopefully I can see more of him. Overall, I enjoyed it. Definitely worth it. It's in demand still, so definitely go get yourself a copy if you have not yet. And again, story's good. I want to say, I know it's been pretty critical. Story is good. I enjoy it. The beats are good. It's interesting for sure. There's just some aspects of it that I think can be improved. I know Zach's improving on every book that he does, which makes me really look forward to his other projects. Let's see. He's also got let's see if it'll bring him up. Well, he's also got Expendables Go to Hell up right now. I know he's working on some other projects that he's going to release this year, I believe. So definitely keep an eye out on those. But yeah, Jawbreakers God King. If I had to give it a rating out of 10, I'd say probably like a 6.5 to a 7. But it's good. It's good. Better than anything on the shelves right now, I'd say. As far as Marvel's concerned, for sure. I'd put this up there with probably some DC Black Label titles. Better than just your standard DC book. I'm really excited to see what he's going to do next with the Jawbreakers story. I'm excited to see his upcoming projects, working with Stallone and whoever else we'll see. But that'll do it for this review. I'll see you guys next time.